Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll podcast brought to you by the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Butter Seedfall.
Nice.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be going over Mausritter, the sword and whiskers role-playing game from Isaac Williams. This, what to even start? This book surprised me.
Yeah, totally. This is a great one.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, this is not my favorite game mechanics of all time, right? There's a lot of things. It's not the best art book we've ever reviewed on here. There, like, a bunch of other things where I'm like, in little individual bits and pieces, I might have a more favorite thing. I don't know if we've read, or if I have read, I don't know how you feel about this, a better, more complete game.
Yeah. Feels very whole, you know?
Yeah.
Also, you get to play as a mouse, guys, and I can't even begin to tell you how much that alone, you know?
Yeah. Which, I mean, you don't have to, but you can.
But you do. You absolutely have to play it.
But you
Listen,
do.
if you pick up Mausritter and you don't play as a mouse,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, you can. So what I'm holding in my hand right here is the what I believe is the first release of Mausritter, which is put out by Games Omnivorous. Well, it's published by Games Omnivorous, which pretty much anything Games Omnivorous publishes, I want and have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Period. They do a lot of small print runs. It's really difficult to find a lot of their stuff after the initial release. I think they've done a couple print runs of Mausritter, a couple print runs of Varn, and I think they're about wrapped up with that. So if anything pops up on the website, I recommend grabbing it immediately. But this is the first release of Mausritter, and it's got this, for those that can't see, this fucking adorable like cutout in the front cover, right? That goes through to the art on the end pages of a bunch of mice battling a snake, but it's cut out in like a mouse hole situation, like a straight up cartoonish like mouse hole with the art on the back. And then after this release, they decided to put out, you know what? I'm just gonna kick to the big window here.
Yeah, do it.
And I'm gonna turn off some of this blur for this in podcast land. The blur is now off, just so you could imagine that in your brains. They also then put out a box set, a absolutely stunningly gorgeous box set. I think they said they might be doing one more print run of the big box set, but I don't know if they're going to do the estate box set anymore, which is basically like a whole box set of adventures together. It's just a gorgeous package here, and we're going to flip through it real quick, just so those watching can see what they might be having or not having. So just the cover art in general, all of the art for this is absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty positive Isaac Williams, the guy who wrote the book, does all the art for it. Fucking fantastic.
Beautiful.
And right there on the front, Gold Annie's Award for Best Family Game, which is something we'll be talking about. But a quick flip through of the material. You crack it open, this new second edition of the book, very similar to the first, but they are outside now. So in the first one, it's a mouse hole in a house, and in the second one, it's like a hole in a tree. Still a hole through the front cover of the book. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly for those who can't physically see this. Through the cover of the book, and inside is a mouse chatting with an owl, holding a torch. And this is the second version of the book. In the box set, they also give you sweet Mausritter, like I believe it's either a wet erase or dry erase marker, or a pen. Nope, it's a marker. And then you get a whole stack of character sheets. The character sheets are super simple, but we'll talk about that too because they're fucking genius. There is a thick cardboard turn tracker. You
love that.
Yeah. There is one of my favorite things ever, which is these item cards, which if anyone knows me, knows that these will never, ever be punched out, ever. And I will just print them and cut them out myself. But it's all of the items that you need, including blank ones, so that you can write in new items with their usage dots on them. And there's a stack, there's like a bunch of them, a bunch of cards. And then there's a whole condition card, which are orange, which is fantastic. And then there are just more and more item cards. This one is yellow. This is another stack. And then this item card is actually Honey in the Rafters specific, because Honey in the Rafters is an adventure that comes with the original box set. And a lot of it's fantastic. And a lot of adventures do this, where it's literally just like this big trifold situation. And that's the whole thing. It comes with a GM screen as well. Really beautiful big spread of art on that. For those listening, it is the mouse running into a tree, probably similar to the said tree on the front, but there are a lot of dangers around, like a cat. There's some like millipedes or centipedes or whatever. There's a little campfire going on. It's a really, really beautiful piece. And inside, I mean, the game is pretty small, so you almost get the entire fucking game on the inside, which is crazy.
Yeah. It is nice. It's a nice, not overly complicated game, but with some good procedures. Yeah, exactly.
And then you get the rules reference page, which is literally like one page. So really, really fantastic box set in that you have every possible thing you could possibly need. And it's not like that much, it's a pretty simple game. Like, there's a reason it won for best family game, but I genuinely think overall it is one of the better, like we said, more complete games. And then the other thing to just shoot through real quick is the estate box set. Another beautiful piece of art. I love the like sunset in the background, the pink on the front cover. This is really beautiful. Yeah. And there's really interesting. There's like a cat, and if you look at the art on it, there's like a cat and mouse like hedge cut shapes in the yard that they're looking at. So it's pretty neat. So right when you open up the estate box set, you get this character record. It's a little envelope that's got a backpack on it. And that is where you can keep all of your character stuff when you were doing all of that. And then it's a bunch of really amazing adventures from really amazing creators. So the Ember Tree from LFOSR, absolutely stunning. And again, they're all basically just these big trifolds. It's all the same format.
It looks so good.
Yeah, the red on this one is absolutely beautiful. And a lot of them have this like very like individual color specific. A lot of them only have like 2 colors. Kind of reminds me of the way the Games Omnivorous does the oh my god, I know, my brain is blanking, and people will know this and like later on. It's the adventures that they do with the eater, where there is, what I'm talking about. They're literally sitting right there. The Ticking Tower from Josiah Moore. This one is pink and black. It's really fantastic. This one is called Mush Push from Bodhi H. It is green and orange. This is Science Sorrow from Nate Treem, Highland Paranormal. Love to see his name on anything. Really, really fantastic. This one is purple and green. There is a blue and white one here called Workers Work, Rulers Rule from Skull Fungus. Yeah, still going because there's this many adventures in the box set.
It's crazy amount of content already,
Yeah. The Wizard of Arms and Armor from Amanda Lee Frank, really gorgeous. Song of the Frogicle from Emma Acosta. Giant Snake in the Sewer from Gnarled Monster. Fruit of the Orchard from Madeline Ember. The Chapel of Eternal Peace from Diego Noguera. I mean, the names in this are crazy. Yeah. The Tower of Soot from the Lazy Lich.
That's a good one too. I like the Tower of Soot. Down the center is a big tower the whole time you're going through, and I like the layout of it. Yeah, on the inside, it's
what he just said.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very satisfied to unfold it and see a whole tower. So
yeah, it's really dope. And then again, every single one of those has their own specific punch out cardboard item cards.
Much stuff.
Right. And then there is a campaign guidebook. So you can actually string these entire things together. And this is one of my favorite pages. It's literally like the map and then the breakdown of all the adventures with the titles on it. So it can tell you where in this like kind of like house and the surrounding areas all of these adventures take place, because you can actually string the whole thing together as like a giant adventure. And it's absolutely fantastic. The last one or two things in here is there's a race situation, and then there is a big poster map of the actual of the estate and then welcome to Brickport area. Yeah, so really, really, really fantastic. The amount of content you get is crazy, and then the amount of talent in this box is absolutely insane. The number of just fantastic creators that contributed is incredible. Yeah, that is the box set. Real quick flip throughs of both box sets. And then what we're going to do now is actually get into the game and talk about why we love this game so much. So let me finish putting this away. And we will get going with that. So let's get cracking. Oh, and then once again, thanks to Spear Witch, Jared Sinclair over there in the vault, I was able to snag one of the, what I believe is the first editions or the first print release prior to the box set of Mausritter. So that's really cool and fantastic, and glad that was able to come in on time. So we're gonna hop over to the actual game right there. So here we go. Mausritter Sword and Whiskers role playing. And love this, dude, the cover art again is absolutely stunning.
It's really good.
Yeah, they're outside, these three mice. They're on like a tree stump. One's got a little sword / like sewing needle, and then one of them's helping another one climb up. And just like the colors, like there's fall leaves, but there's like a brightness to the day. I don't know. It makes me want to go outside sometimes. Not all the time, but you know, on occasion.
Maybe not where you are, you know.
Yeah, I agree. So right off the bat, there is a page that, you know, as we know, is not my favorite, which is just a massive list of the costs of things, but it makes sense. Gears and prices, tools that are mouse made and tools that are human made, which I love the distinction. Weapons and armor, light sources, hired help, transport for hire, lodging, food, and clothing, all on what would be like the end papers. There is a list of mousy names, both the birth name and the matroname. And
yeah. So I rolled for mine. It was Butter Seed Fall, which I think is nice. 63 and 20. Not 20, 63 and 13.
There you go. Yeah, there's a dope. I mean, it's a list of it's a 100 and a 20 for those. And then there is a D6 / D8 item table for carried bric-a-brac. It's just like random stuff you carry, like the
stuff you got. You know, you're a mouse, stuff. You got stuff on you.
Yeah, stub of a pencil, the tooth of a human child, a very strong magnet, just like random shit.
Dried 5-leaf clover, carefully folded. That's actually my favorite. So
just imagine the little mouse hands folding up a clover. Yeah.
No. Fucking adorable.
Right. Credits page is really fantastic. Writing, illustration, and design all by Isaac Williams. Good fucking job, dude. Editing and proofreading, Matthew Pook. Development, Andre Novoa, who I believe is the game's omnivorous person, and I'm 99% positive they're the one that did 17th Century Minimalist.
A great game.
Great, so fucking good. And then the acknowledgement section is really great because there's actually games that I hadn't heard of that I've read, or articles on here that I've read because of this. So specifically saying that inspirations: Into the Odd, of course, Goblin for the core rules, Goblin Punch for magic and 3x use, Knave for characters defined by inventories, Mothership for densely packed layouts, Moonhop for just going and making your game, Last Grass Grimoire for arts and crafts inventories, Coins and Scrolls for reintroduction to the world of old school role-playing games. And the following all inspired Mausritter's themes: Brambley Hedge, which is a book, Church Mice, which is a book, The Tales, the Rescuers, Ariete, A Distant Mirror, Mouse Guard, and Mice and Mystics. I'm surprised.
So none of my, like, the Tale of Despero, the Red Wall series, like, those have been my touch points for like a mousy kind of game. It's funny that those are on there. So many other ones, though, you know?
Yeah. I would definitely love to do a Five Goes West hack, because it's like one of my favorite games of all time as a child. Also, The Great Mouse Detective. So anyway, table of contents. Guess what? When my little hand scrolls over, it definitely turns into my mouse turns into a hand. So fully hyperlinked, which is really fantastic. It does indeed have bookmarks as well. So really great with that. Love that. Once again, it's very thorough. Like I feel like everything I wanted from this game in a variety of different ways I got, which is really great. Even the background on the table of contents page is just like black and white sketched nature outside, like leaves and flowers and things like that, which is really beautiful. And then we get to the kind of like intro, what is this page? And it's the edge of the art from the GM screen. But the inside book, if unless I'm completely making it up, is all black and white interior. But the art style definitely leans into that being like a really good thing. This is not an art book, and it doesn't need to be.
Doesn't need to be, really, but I mean, the art's very solid.
Oh, so good. Like it's really fantastic the whole way through. So, what is this game? Brave mice in a dangerous world. The mouse kingdom survive on the edge of collapse. A harsh winter or heartless cat could spell the end for all. The settled mice huddle together, hidden in their settlements and trees and burrows and walls, scraping and saving. A tenuous existence, but you are not like those settled mice. By choice or by necessity, you are an adventurer. You live by your luck, your smarts, and your bravery. So I'm not going to continue to read the rest of this, but that is basically the game. Like, there are mice that are just micing around, and there are people like, there are mice like you, yeah, who choose to go out and adventure, potentially be a hero, do what you need to do. What is Mausritter? It is a role-playing game. You and a bunch of friends get together, you have a game master, you roll dice, and you be mice. I mean... that's a tagline right there that they could have used easy. You know? Be mice, roll dice. And there is a section here called "What is a role-playing game?" I think we've talked about this numerous times before, and I don't hate that it's here.
No, and especially for this game, because this is like a potentially incredibly family-friendly game. You know,
I mean, I can't imagine a better game for kids, and that's not to say that it is a kids game, because adults absolutely can enjoy the shit out of this. But I mean, it did win, let's bring it up again, a gold innie for best family game, for a reason. It is incredibly friendly to a younger audience, and I think that honestly any rules light game, as far as like reading it and understanding the rules, should be friendly to the audience. I mean, Ben Milton, you know, Knave and Maze Rats, he was testing on his like 5th grade classes. You know what I mean? Like, easy to understand. So what is a role-playing game is a section here, and as Hunter said, it feels like it needs to be here, and is written in a way that doesn't suck, because we've read ones that suck. It just says it is a RPG. It's a process of shared or collaborative storytelling. It exists mostly as a conversation. GM will describe a situation. The players will describe how the mice they control react and interact. And at certain points, as such as when the mouse does something risky, the rules of the game interject. Dice may be rolled to see what happens, and the conversation resumes. It's literally like 5-6 lines. That's like all it is. Yeah. Really great. More of the art. If we were in spreads, I assume this would connect with what was above. A whole section here on what you need to play, character sheet, pencils, all that stuff. Dice notation, like what D20 means, what D8 means, like important stuff if you've never played a game before. And I think for a lot of people, this could be, there's ones where we read and we go, this ain't gonna be your first fucking game. Kingdoms is not gonna be the first RPG you pick up, right?
But this one, it could be.
It could be, and I love that. And one of the things that when I saw this, I was like, damn, no, I feel like this has to be on the list of shit you need to do. We talked about this all the time, where it's easy to digitally hyperlink, not easy, it's good to digitally hyperlink a PDF, but you can't hyperlink it in real life. Except you can, because they put a fucking QR code in the book.
Oh.
So that you can just scan it from your phone and go to the downloadable resources. And on top of that, oh no, Mausritter.com isn't hyperlinked. Should hyperlink that on it. But that's absolutely fantastic that there's a physical link that you can just scan the book and go to all the downloadable resources. And if you do go to the downloadable resources in Mausritter, we'll flip through that later when we get to the value section. Everything you need. A whole section here on how to read the book, which is great. Basically says if you're a player, read the first 6 to 18. And it also specifically, the way it writes the language, I think is just fantastic. It says the first like 6 to 18 pages is directed at the player. And here the quote unquote you is directed towards you, a player of the game. And then it says after that, the remainder of the game, pages 20 to 43, is directed towards a game master. And here the you is directed towards you, the game master of the game. I love that that's differentiated so that you don't have to do that random, like, do I say you? Do I do he? Do I do she? You can just say you when you're talking to the players, you when you're talking to the GM, and just say in the beginning that's what it is. And I think that's just so good. And then making it your own. Basically, it just says hack the shit out of it. It's resilient to that in its core rules, and this should really just be a way to get you going playing mice, not necessarily having to stick to it completely. So again, a lot of like little bits and pieces, 1 or 2 lines that I think were so fantastic that makes the book feel so thoroughly and the rules so thoroughly done. We get into the Make a Mouse page, and at the bottom of this is yet another QR code that you can click on. It's called the Instant Mouse Generator, Mausritter.com/mouse, and you can just instantly create a mouse, which is always fantastic. We love character generators. It definitely adds to the value of the game overall when you can just click on something online, and you know, if you were to die or even just getting going for the first time, if you just want to throw people in real quick and then dig through the character details, you can. It's really fantastic to have that as an option. When you make a mouse, there are 4 steps. We love a numbered list. There are your attributes, which is number 1. Number 2, your HP, pips, and background. Number 3, the starting equipment, and number 4, the details. And yeah, the overall layout of the book is really fantastic. It's 2 columns.
We love the 2 column.
Yeah, but they feel wide. I don't know why. Maybe it's the font choice that they use or what it is. But there's also very few pages throughout the book that don't have like a tiny piece of spot art or a table or a graph or something like that. So there's a lot of breakup of the layout. And I also really love the font choices. So the headers all have this,
the headers are great.
Yeah, it's the same font as the front of the book. It's like a black letter font, but an incredibly legible black letter font. But then when you actually read the words that are important to read, it's just in like a regular sans serif font that's really, really readable. Attributes, you get 3 of them: strength, dex, and will. The core of this game is really Into the Odd. It's very, like, it's 3 stats, you always hit, you know, etc., etc. But that is what the core is. So your mouse has 3 attributes. How you get those attributes for each of those, you roll 3d6 in order, keeping the 2 highest dice results for a value between 2 and 12. So it's 3d6, you keep 2 of them, not 3d6 and then, you know, get to 18 or whatever. Okay. And then you may swap any 2, which is cool. So you can really decide if you want to be Dexy, Strengthy, or Willy based on how you roll. 2 is your HP, pips, and background. So we've talked about this before. This is probably my biggest beef with any game that does this. Hit protection. Right. I love the concept of hit protection. It should have been called something different, because this is one of those things where there is such an ingrained acronym, or what is it called when you use HP instead of hit protection? Like a
acronym.
Sure. It's so ingrained as hit points that you shouldn't then use a separate thing to mean something that is somewhat similar in a way that is confusing to explain how it's not that thing. You know what I mean? Because hit protection is
I get the use of it. It is slightly different for sure, but I do get the use of it as like it's an understood term, you know?
Yeah, it's just, in my opinion, especially the first time I read Into the Odd, to me it felt really confusing, because it's like, this is kind of hit points, but not hit points, but it uses HP as a way to describe something similar to hit points. Yeah. I'm like, use armor, like literally any other set of initials except for HP. And I think it's a great concept. It just will never not irritate me that I have to be like, no, wait, in this game, HP is not hit points and hit protection is not hit points, even though the initials are the same and one of the two words is exactly the same. But let me describe that to you how it's slightly different. That's valid. It's valid though, right? So you roll d6 for your hit protection. This is the damage your mouse can shrug off before taking serious harm. And then you roll d6 for your mouse's starting pips. These are the basic currency of the Mouse Kingdom. So hit protection is shrugging off damage, pips is money, and then you cross-reference the value of your HP with your pips on the background table, and this is what your mouse was before becoming an adventurer. So you actually use the things you roll to then determine, or you can just pick whatever you want. And then your starting equipment, you start with torches, rations, 2 items from your background, and a weapon of your choice, which is, in fact, hyperlinked in the PDF, so you can just go to see page 9. So inline hyperlinks, fantastic.
We love it.
If your mouse's highest attribute is 9 or less, roll on the background table again and take either item A or B. If your highest is 7 or less, take both. I love that. So like if you start with poor stats, you get more stuff because there's a lot of inventory based design in this.
Right.
And then you roll or choose your birth sign, coat, and a physical detail, and you choose a name appropriate for a brave mouse. So birth sign, it's D6, which gives you your star sign and a disposition. The coat is a D6, which you roll 2D6 on that, you get the color and the pattern. And then a D66, which is your physical detail, and it actually has a little tip on the bottom. D66 means D6 times 10 plus D6, which is a fine way to do it, or the way another. It's a decent way to explain that. But yeah, so those are the ways in which you create your character. And then you do your background. So again, you cross-reference your pips and your HP. So there is a table that has multiples of each. It's like 5 or 6 of each number, like 1 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 2 for HP, and then pips. Very
into the odd way to for your like starting, which obviously it's actually one of my more favorite things about Into the Odd is like that whole like your HP and like your stat, like your highest stat, or in this case pips, like defines what you're carrying, like kind of who you were. I'm like, I love that. I think it's a great way to deal with that. I very much enjoy it.
Yeah, Into the Odd is a very stuff heavy game. You're hunting relics, you're using relics, and yeah it's cool. And then pips go 1 to 6, 1 to 6, 1 to 6, 1 to 6. So random one on here. You could be a fungus farmer or a fisher mouse
or a hedge witch.
A hedge witch is cool. And or a bat cultist. Your 2 items, one is a spell, which is darkness, and one is an item, and one is a bag of bat teeth. So again, you start with both, and if your highest stats less than 9, you roll again, and then you get to pick one or the other, and if they're less than 7, you get to take both, so you can get up to 4 items if you have crappy stats. So, and that's the entirety of character creation. I'm already 8 pages into 18 pages of rules. So again, this is a quick game, and I really enjoyed it a lot. Next is your inventory. How do you feel about inventory?
I really enjoy this.
Yeah, it's really fantastic, and I love having stuff too. So inventory, your mouse carries items in inventory slots. Most items take up 1 inventory slot. Some larger items take up 2. And every one of your mices has paw slots, body slots, and pack slots, right? And just to whip out the character sheet real quick so people can see it on screen, right? Because the example in the book has tokens drawn onto the character sheet,
right?
But what you get on the left side in the light colored sides is you get a main paw box and an off paw box, and those are your paw slots, main paw, off paw, right? And then you get 2 body slots, and that's it, 2 body slots, and then you get 6 slots here for stuff, and that's your pack slots. So I couldn't love this more. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
I also like the whole cutting stuff out and like placing it over, like the item, or punching them out on the item cards, like placing it over to have a physical representation. So it keeps you knowing what's in your inventory. Genius.
without having to do like an inventory sheet. And also, again, for a family, for adults too that have ADHD or just not, that's fantastic. But for kids, them being able to be like, oh, I got a torch, let me find my little torch token. All right, I put the torch token on my pack slot. You know what I mean? Like, that is such a fun way to keep them invested in the game. And for the reason that the boxes come with a dry erase marker, or I assume maybe a wet erase marker. It doesn't fucking matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter. It's because the system uses, or we're about to talk about, is usage dots. So you can punch them out in the box set and then use your marker to mark them on the tokens that you got in the box set and then wipe them off and use them again. It's so fucking genius. Anyway, so conditions, usage, encumbrance. Yeah, so conditions are negative effects suffered by your mouse. Each condition must be placed in an inventory slot. So much like a lot of games similar to this, bad stuff takes up inventory, which is a really fun way of doing it.
It is. I like this a lot.
It makes sense in a rules way, but you can also make it make sense in like a real world way, in that, like, if you are exhausted, you shouldn't be able to carry as much stuff.
Absolutely.
So each condition must be placed in an inventory slot. Mice may have multiple copies of the same condition, and some have additional effects. Conditions can only be removed by meeting their clear requirement, which is usually a short, long, or full rest. And what's listed here is hungry as a condition, which you can clear after eating, or injured as a condition, which tells you that you have disadvantage on strength and dex saves, and you clear it after a full rest. Everything that you need is right on the token. Again, makes it incredibly easy to follow along. Really, really fantastic. Usage dots. Most items have 3 usage dots. When all 3 dots are marked in an item, it is depleted or destroyed. Usage dots can be cleared from weapons and armor for 10% of the original cost per dot cleared. So basically, you can pay to have it fixed.
Nice.
Weapons, armor, and they use the fun armor. ARMOUR.
I am too, and color as well. You know,
I love the Brits.
You in there. You know.
Yeah, it looks fancier, you know.
It does. It's also, you know, more correct.
Right. I mean, it is the original English, I guess. I mean,
capitalism has ruined the American language. Well, it's because it costs per letter when you print stuff. So, you know.
So we dropped to the U. Damn.
Those filthy Americans started dropping letters left and right.
Nice.
Disgusting.
After a fight, roll d6 for each item that was used during the fight. On 4 to 6, you mark a usage, and that's for all your weapons, armor, and ammunition. That's fantastic. A nice little like post-fight. Everyone do the thing. Everyone relax. Everyone. It also, I think, is a good way to bridge the differences between like being in combat and being out of combat. It lets your mind kind of. It's almost like a palate cleanser. You know, I like the time to sit down and do that. Torches and lanterns, you mark a usage after every 6 turns. Rations, you mark a usage after every meal. And other gear, if used in a way that could break or deplete it, they might ask for usage dots. So everything has usage dots. Everything has usage dots. Encumbrance, if you are carrying more items or conditions than are available, you are encumbered. While encumbered, your mouth cannot run and makes all save with disadvantage. Great roll. Banking. In a mouse settlement, pips and items can be stored in a bank or safe box. Your mouse must pay a fee of 1% of the value when retrieving the stored pips or items. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. There's a bank.
Yeah.
It exists. That's fine. Well, I really love the way that armor works on this, and we'll get to it in a second. But for this example at the top, light armor is actually a long token. It's a double in one, and it takes up a paw slot and a body slot. Because if you look at the picture, it is like a chest piece and like a little button shield.
Well, button shield, yeah.
It's so cute. So and it's 1 defense. But I love that even that, like when you need to use it, the tokens are a bigger token that you can put down, and so is usage dots. The thoroughness of this was really well done.
Incredibly cool.
Then we get to weapons. There's improvised, heavy, light, medium, light ranged, and heavy ranged. I don't feel like you need any more than that in any game whatsoever. What are your thoughts on this spread?
No, this is perfect. I'm great with this.
Yeah, I'm okay not having a different dice mechanic for a short sword and a long sword and a medium sword and a bastard sword and a everything. Like, just I love just being like, oh, you have a light weapon. What is it? Cool. Like, these are the rules for it. Like, use whatever you want. But these are Yeah, it's neat, and the way that they break down the usage and stuff is great. So improvised is a d6. You use the main paw or both paws, and you always mark a usage after a fight because it's improvised, like it's not made to exist. Heavy d10 for both paws, light d6 one or the other. It says if attacking with 2 weapons, roll both dice and use the best result. That's an into the odd situation, right? Oh, big yawns.
Big yawn. Sorry. I think so. I cannot remember off the top of my head, actually.
Yeah.
It might not be, but
I know Electrum Archive uses something similar to that as well.
Big yawns.
Medium. Yeah, medium, d6 or d8, main paw or both paw, does d6 in one paw, d8 in both, love that. Light range, d6, stones, pouch. So it takes up, your light range takes up a body slot because you have to carry the stuff that you need. And then a heavy range takes up a body slot because you have to hold like a quiver. So that takes up one of the spots on like your belt, and it takes up both paws and does d8 damage. So really great. And then there's only 2 types of armor, which I love, light and heavy.
Perfect.
Yeah. Reduces armor dealt to your mouse by enemy attacks. Light armor prevents 1 damage, and it takes up your off paw and 1 body slot, again, because you have a chest piece and a shield for light armor. And then heavy armor prevents 1 damage and takes up 2 body slots. So yeah, and it also only prevents 1 damage. So the difference isn't very much, right? So like they both reduce the same amount of damage, but one allows you to keep a second body slot and the other takes up both your body slots. That's my assumption with what the difference is, because heavy armor doesn't soak 2 damage or anything like that. It's just the way in which you can carry something, right? So like if you have heavy armor on, you can't have a bow and arrow because the quiver takes up a body slot.
Oh, yeah.
So it really doesn't change the damage reduction, but it changes the style of play, which is really interesting.
It is really interesting way that, yeah, absolutely.
And especially with the way shields work, which is neat, and we'll get to that. Because it's not like more soak because you have a shield.
Right.
So really it just differentiates the way in which you can carry stuff, which is cool. Essential items, lanterns, torches, stuff like that. It's light. Light has things, various ones have different amount of usage dots and turns before you do that. Rations, you eat food. Eating a ration, spending a watch heals all your HP. If your mouse doesn't eat, you get the hungry condition. So basically it just takes up an item slot until you eat something. And then your pip purse holds 250 pips and takes up 1 slot. So
perfect.
Mice, I like all of the little, because this is very, very SRD-ish, you know what I mean? Like it's very just like rules to what need to be written. But every now and then it'll throw in a little thing like banking. Or like the pip purse. Mice and settlements mostly deal in barter and IOUs, and pips can be stored at a bank. Like I like the little bits of like mice lore thrown into the very rule specific bits.
Mice
how to play the game? Yeah, dude, we need to play this game. We might be having someone that's willing to run it for us here at the Adventure Archive, so we'll see that soon. If we do, we'll let you know.
That's very true. Yeah, it's like it's almost like we know somebody who writes a bunch of Mausritter adventures.
Oh, also that person too. But yeah, maybe we can get him to run it. Yeah. So how to play the game. So it's a role-playing game. We're not going to go over that. It's, you know, you can talk in first, third person, whatever. I love that it's here. You don't have to have a silly voice, but it doesn't hurt. I love the little section there basically saying like, here's all the various ways you can do it. And again, it's not a fucking essay. It's a pretty quick, easy way. Yeah. Yeah. I do love the best practices section. I think this is great in anywhere. If you're stuck thinking what to do when you're playing, refer to these guidelines. You can ask a lot of questions. You can make notes and draw maps. You work together to devise schemes and recruit allies. Dice are dangerous. Clever plans don't need to roll. So this is very like, don't fight if you don't have to. And I mean, that's very into the odd. Everything hits. Play to win, but delight in losing. And fight dirty. Run, die, roll a new mouse. One of my favorite bits here, and there's another one of it later, it literally says roll, die, roll a new mouse, right in the section explaining the best practices in RPGs, right? So as we've said a million times. 5e fucking sucks, partially because you're basically just playing a novel, right? If you're the main character, you're not going to die, and in a lot of the way people run 5e and the way the adventures are written, there's no threat of death in the game, and the rules don't make it a threat of death in the game, right? So I've literally played with people who were like, you can't kill my character without my consent, which is a valid way if you want to do that, if that is what is decided on before you start playing in your zero sessions and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is.
But the fact it changes the entire game when there is no threat of death.
I agree. It's a totally different game.
Yeah. So the fact that right off the bat, especially for kids, if this is a family game that you're saying, it very early on in the combat section tells you that you will die and you just roll up a new mouse and keep going. There's another section later where it literally says like when you die. Like I'm like, I really love the way that they wrote it with that very like you are going to die, like, yeah, totally. And then you'll just play a new mouse, and there's an expectation right off the bat where it goes, oh, I could die, I will die, like I'm not gonna have the same character forever. I don't need to write an entire fucking like novel before I get the game going. I really enjoy that it's written in a way that's really right off the bat telling you what's going on. So did you want to cruise through combat since you are the Into the Odd guy, or did you want me to keep going?
Oh no, you got it.
All right. So saves, when you describe your mouse doing something risky where the outcome is uncertain and failure has consequences. One of my favorite lines ever in every game I ever read it in. I'm going to read that again because it's amazing. When you describe your mouse doing something risky where the outcome is uncertain and failure has consequences, the GM will ask you to make a save against either strength, dinks, or will. Basically, don't roll if you don't have to. If you want people to see stuff, don't make them roll a perception check, you know? To make a save, roll a d20 if the result is less than or equal to. So this is a roll under system. The better d20 system.
Yep. The best d20 system.
Right. If the result is less than or equal to the relevant attribute, your mouse succeeds and suffers no consequences. If the result is over the attribute, your mouse fails. So also though, like when you start, you rolled 2d6, not 3d6.
Right. So
the highest stat you can have to start is a 12 if you get lucky. I mean, average is realistically gonna be what, like a
7, 8,
7, yeah, because it's 2d6. But the advantage, it's a 9 actually, because every time you roll with advantage on 3d6, you add 2 for the first like 2 to 3. I only know that for no reason. But so it's like 7 and 9. So you like you have a high risk of failure early on in the game until you level up. Opposed saves, you roll against another person on the lowest wins. Advantage, disadvantage, you roll 2d20, you roll 3d20, take the highest or the lowest, or 2d20, take the highest, lowest. We know all of that. Combat, it's dangerous for mice, even brave adventurers, but sometimes it cannot be avoided. If you attack unsuspecting foes, your mouse and any allies aware of the plan go first. Otherwise, you make a dex save to act before your opponent. In following combat rounds, maintain this order. Love that. On your turn in a combat round, you can move up to 12 inches and perform an action. I love that the 5-foot square isn't a 5-foot square anymore. It literally is just a 1-inch square because you are a fucking mouse.
That's so funny. Yeah. Okay. That's really good.
Like it. Yeah. And actions can be anything like negotiating, attacking, fleeing, anything risky. Attacks always hit. You just roll your weapon die and do that much damage to an opponent minus their armor. We've talked about this before, you and I specifically. It's interesting when games do Into the Odd hacks.
Right.
Because when I first read Into the Odd, I think one of the first things I said to you was like, this isn't a combat game. It doesn't feel like a combat game. You know, it's an exploration game.
Yeah, I mean, combat's still fun in it, but it's really deadly. Like, I mean... it's nice because like HP comes back like immediately after combat, you know, but like damage you take to stats doesn't. You have to rest for that. And yeah, I mean, so after a few fights, like you're really getting worn down, and like you have even with the group of 3 and me kind of softballing it in, people are going down. One person would go down every fight, you know, so. It really it's pretty tough. It's a game where you don't really want to fight. You want to try to avoid it, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by like it's not a combat game in the way that like if you read Into the Odd, the combat section is like one page, and then there's a million pages on all the stuff you can find and the way it works,
building
and
a
stuff.
business, all that stuff. Yeah,
I love that, but look at that compared to 5e, where 80% of the book is combat rules and 20% of it is spells. It is a combat game, but this game I really enjoy because I do feel like if you're a mouse running around on the estate, you're not going out there to be a fucking warrior. You're an explorer and adventurer, and I think I think this system uses it in a really good way, because of how dangerous it is to be a mouse. I think Into the Odd fits it so perfectly. I couldn't imagine a system that they could have done that would have fit better, both like rules wise and kind of like in a meta sense.
Absolutely.
So really good job, Isaac Williams, who clearly made a fantastic game. When an attack is impaired, so to hit that again real quick, attacks always hit, you just roll your weapon die to do damage on an opponent minus their armor. When attack is impaired, such as when firing into cover or fighting while grappled, roll d4. And if it's enhanced, roll a d12. That's a beef I'm never going to not have with Into the Odd. I think it's one dice down and one dice up is what I would do instead of going all the way to the lowest and all the way to the highest. But that's just me. Hit protection, not hit points, hit protection and damage. So for those that haven't read Into the Odd, let's read through this again. Damage is first dealt to a creature's hit protection. This represents the creature's ability to avoid or shrug off real damage. So once HP is depleted, damage is dealt to strength. After taking strength damage, the creature must make a strength save. If they succeed, they're still able to fight. So every time you take damage directly to your strength, you have to save or you go down. And if they fail, they take critical damage. When a creature takes critical damage, they take an injured condition, which means you add that to your inventory, and are incapacitated until tended to by an ally. And if an incapacitated creature is left untended for 6 exploration turns, they die. So, for example, you have a little mousy guy, Butterbeans. What was his name?
It's Butterseed Fall.
He's got some light armor on. Well, let's say heavy armor because there's no shield situation, right? And then you have so that's 1 armor soak, right? And then let's say you have 2 hit protection, right? And like 3 strength. Okay. So and I do 4 damage to you, right? 1 is absorbed by your armor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 is absorbed by your hit protection.
Mm-hmm.
And that means 1 goes directly onto your strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would then roll a strength save to see if that hit to your strength put you down.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That is a quick way of how to do all of those things.
A quick way to go down almost immediately in combat. Genuinely, like it's
like a D6 would take you down.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you a person, like I'm thinking of Into the Odd, like explorer, normal human, decent armor, goes and is attacked by like a giant monster that slams you against the wall or whatever its first move is to hit, and it's like, yeah, you might go down instantly. There's a chance you just lose consciousness,
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing about Into the Odd versus, like, let's say, for example, 5e. I thought you threw one of these in there, but you didn't.
Oh, no, I forgot.
But is that you are normal people. You are normal whatever you are. You're not eventually going to battle and take over gods. You know what I mean? Which is the point of 5e. It is the only end point of every campaign that gets level 20 is to fight and kill gods. Like,
you fight gods.
Yeah. That's literally it. But in like you just said, like you could run in, someone could just backhand you across the room, some giant monster, you hit the wall, you crumple, you're out. And that's a much more realistic combat.
Absolutely. It's really satisfying. When we played it with my group, they really enjoyed that and they were like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. Like it was a lot of fun. I don't know. I think you say this a lot, but like that kind of risk of death. I mean, we said it already this episode, the risk of death makes it fun. Like failure is a fun part in these games. And I feel like that whole 5e mentality of like always succeeding, like that is less enjoyable then like, yeah, fucking you hit the ground, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it really, a lot of it comes down to it's just consequences are important for playing games like this. If there are no consequences to your actions, then what's the point?
Yeah.
And if
then who cares?
Yeah.
It's like
one of the biggest.
We used to play 3.5, which there is very like there's a lot of rules, but there is a lot more failure in it, and there's the ability to create bad characters, which I think you can't do in 5e. Like your characters are always at least decent, but you can create really shitty characters, and you'd fail hard. And frankly, it was a blast. I feel like the memory of 3.5 is what kept me playing 5 for longer. But Into the Odd's a really great way, or Into the Odd hack like this, great way to bring back that whole like, yep, you're down, or it didn't work. Yeah.
That's kind of one of the bases of the entire like OSR/NSR is that your consequences should matter and fighting should not be your first choice, because you are supposed to just be like a person, not a fucking superhero, So yeah. So this is the line I was talking about earlier when we got to attribute, score, loss, and death. If a creature has their strength score reduced to 0, you're dead. You're dead, but not this line. It's in a second. If Dex is reduced to 0, you are unable to move. If Will is reduced to 0, you are reduced to insensibility. So I like there's different ways to not to be quote unquote dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this line right here: when your mouse dies, comma, roll up a new one. I love that it's written in such a way that says it doesn't say if, it says when.
Yeah, when.
Yeah. I don't know why. That's one of my favorite lines in the whole book, because there is such that innate, like, I feel like there's a lot of like, you could write a whole article on that line right there based on everything that we were just talking about. You know
the
what
implications
I mean?
Of using when instead of if.
The implications. But yeah, exactly. It's just you're gonna die. So the GM should introduce a new one as soon as possible. Yeah, it's because of the implication. Yeah. So I don't know, that to me is such an important part of this game specifically, and I really enjoy that it's here. And we're cruising through this. We're about done. So rest and healing, there's 3 types of rest: short rest, long rest, and full rest. Short rest takes 1 turn. We'll get to turns and stuff in a bit. You take a swig of water and a few minutes of rest, and you get D6 plus 1 hit protection back. Long rest takes 1 watch. A meal and some sleep restores all hit protection. If already full, you get to restore D6 to an attribute score. Because again, as Hunter said, your hit protection will come back really quickly. It's your ability to shrug off an attack or whatever, but strikes directly to you, to your strength, to your will, to your dex, to your attributes, take a lot of time to come back. So you can do a lot of like small risky things, but as soon as you start doing big risky things, it'll hang on to you. And then a full rest, it's a week in safety and it fully restores everything and removes all conditions. So there you go. Time, a round is used in combat. A turn is used in exploration. Every turn takes 10 minutes. And a fight almost always takes a turn. And a watch is for wilderness travel. It's 36 turns, 6 hours, 4 watches in a day, and you can travel 1 hex or a mile in a watch.
Also, shout out to this game as a hex crawl game. Just always my preferred method of play,
Yeah, love a good point crawl, hex crawl. Like, give me a hex crawl, and then once I get onto that hex, give me a nice point crawl. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
I really love that. Overland travel, your party we just talked about that. Watch, difficult terrain, 2 watches, etc., etc. Foraging in the wild, your mouse can spend a watch foraging. If they do, you will find D3 rations. Advancement is really interesting. So your mouse earns XP by bringing treasure and useful goods back to the places of danger to the safety of mouse settlement. So once again, this is an exploration game, not a combat game. The reason that another way that is kind of built into this is that you are not earning XP by killing stuff or whatever. You will get XP by bringing treasure back to your settlement. Right. So the better stuff you find, the more gold you find. That means you don't have to kill the bad guys to get the treasure. You can just get the treasure and bring it back. When your XP is primarily derived from killing stuff, you are probably going to mostly be killing stuff in a game. That's just how it works. Right. Every pip worth of treasure brought to safety, divided equally amongst the party, gets you 1 XP, and you can earn additional XP by spending pips to selflessly help your community. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
For every 10 pips spent this way, your mouse earns 1 XP.
That sounds like communism to me.
Yeah, it definitely ain't fucking capitalism, I'll tell you that. But yeah, selflessly improving your community. For every 10 pips, you get XP. Really, really fantastic. So mice start at level 1, and they have like an HP table that actually makes sense. So at level 1, your hit dice is a D6. You have 0 grit, and it's 0 experience points. That's just how you start. Level 2, 2d6, 3, 3d6, 4, 4d6, 5 plus, still 4d6, right? Level 2, your grid is 1. Level 3 and 4, your grid is 2. And level 5 plus, your grid is 3. And then XP to get to from levels 1 to level 2 is 1,000. To get from 2 to 3 is 3,000. To get from 3 to 4 is 6,000. And 5 plus after that is 5,000 plus. Every time after that to continue on. I would just say once you cap out 5, like once you would hit 6, just retire. I love games that have retirement points, you know? When your mouse earns enough XP to advance, use the following procedure. And this is really, I love this. So roll your attribute increase, right? Roll D20 once for each of your mouse's stats, attributes. If the result is higher than the attribute's current value, increase it by 1. That's it. So you might advance and not increase.
Right.
Yeah, roll the hit dice. Roll the dice listed for the new level's hit dice. If the value is higher than your mouse's current HP, replace your HP with the rolled value. Otherwise, increase your mouse's HP by 1. So your attributes might not always get better, but your hit dice always get better by, or your hit protection always gets better by at least 1.
At least, well, yeah, totally.
But if you max out your hit protection on like the very first one, you're just like, man, I'm just going to get 1 next time, you know, especially from 3 to 4. So that's it. So you roll your attribute increase, you roll your hit protection increase, and that's your whole character. You don't need, you know, an hour and a half and a 5-page character sheet for this. And then starting at the second level, you get grit. This allows you to ignore conditions. For each point of grit you have, you may place 1 condition into the grit space in your character sheet. Once placed in the grid space, a condition cannot be removed until cleared. So basically, you can shrug off 1 condition, and you are not suffering from that condition, but it's taking up your grid space so that you can't put another one there, which is really fantastic. So you're able to. It's kind of like hit protection for conditions. You can shrug off 1.
Very cool.
Magic. Now, what did you feel? You're the magic boy, right? How did you feel about the magic use in this system?
I'm going to be really honest. We're going to have to go through it again. So,
no worries. So, magic has a couple of different things. Spells are living spirits trapped by runes carved on obsidian tablets. They're usually found in deep and dangerous places. The creation of spells is an art lost to all but the most learned wizards, right? So, you get... a spell is actually a carved tablet that you must carry around with you. And then you can sell spells for costs. It's fine. And it varies depending on whether it's depleted or not. Casting a spell, though. So to cast a spell, you must hold the tablet in a paw and read it aloud. So that automatically tells you you have to have at least 1 paw free, right? When your mouse casts a spell, decide on the power to cast it with, up to the number of usage dots remaining on the spell, right? So there are 3 usage dots on a spell, just like everything else, and you can decide whether to use 1, 2, or 3 usage dots, and that's the amount of power that the spell has, right? Roll a number of d6 equal to the power the spell is cast with. For each die which shows the value 4, 5, or 6, mark 1 usage on the spell. The spell has an effect which varies depending on the number of dice invested and the sum of the rolled dice. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
So basically, real quick, easy definition, running through it again. Let's say you have 3 usage dots, right? And you want to potentially use up 2 of them to cast the spell, right? So you roll 2d6, and for every 4, 5, and 6, you mark off a usage die. Right. And then later on, So if say you rolled a 3 and a 4, so that's 7. So the dice you used was 2, the sum was 7, and that's how the spells work. So, and we'll get to that in just a second. Recharging a spell. When a spell's usage dots are filled, it is depleted and cannot be cast. Each spell has a recharge requirement. Fulfilling this requirement will coax a spirit back to the spell and clear all of its usage dots. I love that every mouse can cast a spell. And I love that once a spell is cast, you can do a whole side quest just to get the spirit back into it. And it's so good. And this is another interesting one, is miscast. Whenever 1 or more 6s are rolled when casting a spell, the caster takes d6 damage to will for each 6 rolled. Then make a will save. If failed, take the drain condition. So this is a roll under system, and it maintains that throughout even this, right? Because you're rolling a 4, 5, or 6 because you cast the spell, but you're using it up because you rolled poorly. You rolled in the upper half. Miscasts, every 6 actually does damage to you. So if you roll 3 6s, you cast your spell or whatever, but you take 3d6 damage to will. So you can actually kill yourself.
You could actually, yeah, totally. Or insensible.
Yeah. By trying to cast a spell. So really fun. There's 15 spells listed here. A fun one right off the bat. It's 2d8, so it's not 16, but it's 2d8. Fireball, right? So your effect is you shoot a fireball up to 24 inches. You deal sum plus dice damage to all creatures within 6 inches, right? So the sum, as we said,
it's so funny to like read through it and be like, yeah, 12 inches away, 6 inches away. Like,
because you're fucking mice. I love it. It also really does change. I guess not really. It kind of does. I mean, there's humans in 5 feet, mice in 1 inch. I don't know. So anyway, so it says deal sum plus dice damage to all creatures, right? So you deal our sum was 7. And then we roll 2 dice, so it's you deal 9 damage to all creatures within 6 inches. Easy peasy. It's so clean. Nice. I love it. And then the recharge is burn in the heart of a raging fire for 3 days and nights. So you have to go somewhere, build a fire, and keep it stoked for 3 days and nights. To me, that's a really fantastic downtime. Yeah, absolutely. Like, let's really dig into it kind of situation. There's a lot of other really fantastic things like fear. Give the frightened condition to dice creatures, so 2 creatures. To recharge it, receive the frightened condition from a hostile creature while carrying the spell. It'll bring the fear creature, the fear spirit back. So good.
That's a great one.
Grease. Rub all over an animal fat. Leave it until it putrefies. That will bring the spirit back. It's a really great way to do spells. You know, I personally, and this is just me personally, although this will be very fun, I like when there's spell casting that is just for spellcasters.
I do too.
But I would love to use this as like if you have a system that has spells but also has like scrolls and relics, I would use this in a heartbeat as a relic system. Yeah, where
I was thinking that as well. I think the recharge mechanic is so fun. You know, it's also just good. It's good. Yeah, a downtime fodder, story fodder. Like, you know, invisibility is like another good one. It's like you have to hold the spell with your eyes closed for a day. You know.
Yeah. So good. But the thing is, like you know, it does take up an inventory slot to carry one of these around with you. Yeah. It does require a free hand, and it says that they are found deep in dangerous places. These are not just going to be like sitting in the mouse general store. It would be like a whole quest to go find one of these, or you might find one and you might then just ditch it or sell it. But like, I think a lot like Into the Odd, like it's in a big important relic that you might be hunting for. It is not a common thing in the game, you know. Or even we just did Black Sword Hack. There might be like 1 or 2 of those like magical swords or something in the entire fucking world, you know. Right. Yeah. So there's a whole section of hirelings here, which is really interesting. So you can recruit help. You can hire. Hirelings is such like an OSR fucking thing. I really, really enjoy it.
I do too. I have gotten my players to start utilizing it more because I love hirelings. You know,
they're so good.
Also, frankly, just gives them someone to mess with, you know, and interact with a little bit more. Yeah, solid thing.
No. In a mouse settlement, you can spend a day asking around for mice that want to work. You make a will save or pay 20 pips if successful, or 20 pips is paid. Roll the number for the type of hireling you are interested in employing. So typical hirelings have D6 HP, strength, D6 strength, 2D6 strength, 2D6 dex, and 2D6 will. Hirelings have 6 inventory slots, 2 paw, 2 body, and only 2 pack slots. So there are a number of different slots that or types of hirelings you can have. Torchbearers, laborers, tunnel diggers, scholars, knights, whole bunch of different stuff, things you can use. Hirelings actually get their own little character sheet as well. So they have the same little inventory slot section, so you can keep track of that for other people. It also says when a hireling or warband is placed in a stressful situation, made to go without pay or food, or asked to do something more dangerous, they do a will save or flee. Well-paid hirelings have advantage on that, and hirelings can advance as well. So hirelings who receive a share of treasure gain 1 XP per pip they are given. Warbands who receive a share of treasure will gain 1 XP per 10 pips. Hirelings and warbands advance at the same rate as player mice, and that's it. So warbands, really interesting.
Very into the odd.
Yeah, love it. So basically, you can form a whole huge warband to battle large beasts, and I love the idea of getting 20 mice together to fight a cat.
Yeah,
fuck
it's
cats.
awesome. Or like a big owl, you know.
Right. A warband is 20 fighters, 20 fighting mice plus 1 follower for every fighter. So a luggage porter, a cook, an armorer. Warbands are fucking huge because it's at least 40 people, 40 mice, right? Because you have to have 20 fighting mice and 1 follower
and all their
for each
retainers
mouse.
Or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And that's, I think a lot of people forget that in like combat stories and stuff. If you're moving, especially in ancient times or like older times, when you are moving, I mean, it's still applicable in current warfare too. Supply lines are incredibly important because you can't just have like 1,000 fighters going and doing stuff. You have to have people that are like mending pots and pans and fixing clothes and fixing up the fighters and like carrying the food and doing all that stuff. A lot of times your retainers could be more people than your actual fighters. So you can form a warband under your command, make a will save or pay 1,000 pips. Warbands start with a bunch of stats. When you battle warband-sized creatures. The same as fights for small individuals. Attacks deal damage to HP, then to strength. Attacks by warbanding is a non-warband scale creature are enhanced. Any damage taken from non-warband creatures is ignored. And in casualties, when a warband takes critical damage, they are broken and cannot act until rallied. At strength 0, the warband is wiped out. At half strength, the warband must make a will save or be routed. Warbands recover HP and attributes score damage like individuals, short rest, short, long, and full rest. And equipment improves the warband's abilities. Just multiply purchase price by 20. And then there's also instructions. This is an interesting one. The right to build on land cannot be bought. It can only be given or taken and defended. So no buying up land. You have it if you can keep it. It's a very... That's a very militaristic, very, I don't know, like, way to do it, I guess.
Almost like feudalistic, you know?
To an extent, yeah. Like, it's I don't know why that one kind of, I assumed instead that you would be buying stuff, but I think the concept of, like, everything is for your community, you give help for your community, everything is kind of together as a community, makes sense instead of being like, well, there's no like mouse barons really in this, you know, and I love that. I really enjoy that because as soon as you can buy stuff, you're gonna have people hoarding wealth and fuck billionaires.
And mice don't do that.
Yeah, they don't fuck billionaires. A team of 3 tunnel diggers can excavate 1 6-inch cube of soil per day. Rooms can be of any size. There's room costs. We're not going to dig into this. I love this picture here though, where there's literally like construction happening where they're like breaking into a tree.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Really big example of play, an entire page long of example of play. There's an entire page long of example of combat with another great graphic here. And we didn't really talk about the art throughout the book. There's not a ton of it. There's like a little bits of spot art.
Yeah, there's page art for sure, you know?
Well, there's no, that's the thing is there's no whole, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Like
little,
spot art, like little pieces.
Well, in page and art, you know?
Yeah. But I feel like there are, even when there's not art, there's tables and graphs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like this is one of those things where there's not a ton of art in this book, but there's also no empty spaces, and a lot of it is broken up with tables and stuff in a really good way. It doesn't feel, I mean, we didn't read that many pages, but it doesn't feel heavy, you know?
Yeah.
So example of play for combat, example of play for magic, and then there's a whole game master resource section with a full page, another piece of art with an evil piece of shit animal, a cat, trying to eat our heroic adventurous mouse. So we don't often go through the GM section, but I did want to peruse this a little bit just because, as we specifically said before, like this is also a fantastic game for the first time you're running a game for players.
Yeah,
like
totally.
The principles and best practices that are described throughout this section is so good.
Practices?
I mean, breast would work too, but check it for lumps, people. But the best practices. So just want to cruise these just a bit. So make the world seem huge because your character is on a small scale. And all of these are applicable to not mice games. Just throwing that out there. Yeah. Create situations, not plots, right? So let the players find their own adventure. Don't railroad them onto a particular path. Give the players a space to choose the challenge they are interested in. God damn it. If you want to write a novel, write a fucking novel, right? Don't put me through your story. Present the world honestly, right? You are the eyes, ears, and nose of the players and the mice, but don't hide things from them. Give them all the information they need to make a meaningful choice. Don't hide it behind perception checks. Just make the world consistent and understandable and be an impartial arbiter. Telegraph danger. Give warning signs for things that are coming. Again, make them aware of everything. Don't do gotcha bullshit. Reward bravery. So when the players have been brave or smart, give them the rewards they need. Don't be miserly. Don't discourage them from doing those fun things. Ask for save only when you have to, right? There's a breakdown of like when to specifically ask for the save types. And when you have consequences of failure, keep those consequences consistent. A great table here on when to provide consequences. Luck rolls as an option. Rulings over rules. The rules of Mausritter do not cover every situation. Adapt the existing tools to your purpose or create new ones. Exploration and time. So this is that turn tracker we talked about before. There's a whole section here on how to use that correctly. Really great. Rest, and then that gets away from principles, and now this gets more into character game creation. So rest, weather, encounter tables, reaction tables, morale, all that kind of stuff. Another important page, but again, all of that's only 2 pages. And then you get into creatures. So there's basically a bestiary here. And there are different communication tools, which I enjoy. So mice can communicate with each other. Other rodents can communicate, but with difficulty. Other mammals are harder to communicate with, and other than that, you can't. So if it's a cat, you can theoretically communicate with them. If it's a snake, you can't. So, and then you got so just going over one creature real quick, just so you know what they're like. So it is capped. It is a warband scale creature. It has 15 hit protection, 15 strength, 15 dex, 10 will, and 1 armor. Its attack is a d6 swipe and a d8 bite. It has a list of, it has once, it is to be served. If mice pledge fealty and give bribes, they may be allowed to live. These are where your barons come in. And then there is a list of d6 cat lords. Yeah, cat lords. Balthazar, Melchior, Solomon, Hammurabi, Nefertiti, and Zenobia. Definitely things that people will call their fucking cats. Solomon
I like
plays...
that Hammurabi has rules with harsh, unbending logic. Just like, is that Hammurabi's code or Hammurabi's laws, you know?
Yeah. The first, like...
you steal, you lose a hand.
There you go. Nefertiti loves art and poetry. Balthazar loves to eat the finest delicacies. Solomon plays cruel games with captives. Love that.
That's
Centipedes.
very biblical.
Yeah, right. Centipedes, crows, frogs, fairies, ghosts. So it does have a little bit of not just normal mouse stuff in it. There's a little fantasy to it. There's other mice. There's owl, snake, rat, spider. And then there's a whole section here which is really fantastic on a hex crawl toolbox that explains how to fill hexes, detailing adventure sites, exploring maps, hex contents, whole tables for hex contents, landmark details, tables for mouse settlements, including size and the governance, settlement seeds, adventure seeds, factions, how to use them, like little froggy guys here, and yeah. So I think we're about done. Oh yeah, then there's an example hex crawl, the Earldom of Ek. So really fantastic hex crawl. It's got a lot of different locations on it, encounters, rumors, and little breakdowns of each little hex. And then there's an adventure site toolbox, which has a lot of the similar stuff. Adventure site themes, denizens. I mean, all the tools you need to create any adventure you want just by rolling and all the tables, which is a very, this is what you want from OSR stuff. It feels like a lot more than 38 pages, and I don't know why, but it feels like you get a lot more than the page count.
There's a lot here,
Yeah. I feel like I've read 38-page zines before that have half this content. And honestly, it's probably because there's just not a shitload of art, but it's also very readable, treasure pages, a whole page on magic swords that aren't +1. The snake fang, the toy soldier's saber, the silver sewing needle. Love that shit. And cursed swords. And there's an example adventure site, which is the Stumpsville. Yeah, love Stumpsville.
It's a stump.
Yeah. And then a whole section on useful tables like non-player mice, NPMs, more adventure seeds, different things that happen in different seasons, which are very impactful to mice, which makes sense. Yeah. And then the rules reference page in the back. And I love that the rules reference page has that list of best practices as a huge part of it right at the top.
It's like the main part almost. Yeah.
And then it really breaks down saves, combat, magic, and rest in like really quick, easy ways. And then there's the back page. And that is, that's Mausritter. Really, really fantastic. Yeah. Do you want to just jump straight?
Are we doing a full book rating or a zine?
Oh,
rating?
This is it's 100% a book, especially if we're talking about like the box set. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. I guess there is a lot. So
yeah. I also think that because the book is what we just said, like it's dense. It feels like a lot more than 37 pages. Like if this had as much art as some of the zines we have back there, like if this had as much art as like Merkborg, this would be like a 60-page zine, But yeah, so we're definitely gonna go to our review page and we're gonna go straight to the game review. This is as Hunter just said, a full game review, not a zine review. This has 5 metrics, not 3. Those metrics are art and style, which is the how much and how good is the art and the style of the overall thing, not just the art, but the layout and everything like that. The layout as it is mechanically done, as in readability, navigability, those kind of things. Rule set, which is it an adapted rule set? If so, how good is it adapted? And if it is a new rule set, how good is it? Or how much do we enjoy it subjectively? Originality is kind of the catch-all. It is originality in rules and setting and lore, like whatever it is, it's just overall the originality. And value is the bang for your buck. It is not just the cost of the original game, but also how much there is more for what you get, like character generators, character sheets, third-party content, all that kind of stuff. So overall, so art and style, what are your thoughts?
I think it's good. I think it's definitely not an art book, which we already said. But I think there's a lot of page ending art. There's like small pieces of art here and there, which I think a couple books we've gone through recently I've kind of complained about. I really do like the art. I'm somewhere between, I'm at like a 6.5, you know?
Yeah, I think so. So I just flipped through the book, and there is rarely a page that goes by that doesn't have at least one piece of spot art. Yeah. So I'm flipping through the spreads right now, and so far I found 2, 3, 4 spreads in the entire book that don't have a piece of spot art.
That's pretty good.
I honestly think
I'd be comfortable with a 7, you know?
Yeah. I think for a non-art book, this is to me the perfect amount of art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like spot art on pages, occasional, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of full page art for like the very beginning of the book, and maybe if there's like a part 2 of the book, that's it. You don't need to have something that is that is just pure color, like that is every fucking page. This to me is the perfect amount. If there's a little spot that you can tuck it in, that's great. And otherwise breaking it up with tables and things like that is really perfect. To me, this is the perfect amount of art for a non-art book. I think, so are we, my second question, I guess, with the art and style is, are we only looking at the specific book, or are we looking at like the whole box set with like the adventures and everything?
I think we're looking at the book.
Okay. I think 7 feels, I'm probably like a 7.5, but I think 7 feels good for this. I mean, so that, but then also then we just talked about the quantity of it, right? Quality of the art wise. How do you feel about that? Because
quality's great. I really do I like the art a lot. It's perfect for the game. Very much reinforces the whole mousy feel, you know?
Yeah. And I think that I mean, it's 2 different color, or 2 completely different covers, but all of which is color. The PDF has the color first page and last page, so we can't really knock it for not having color at all. I'm really, I don't know why I'm struggling to not give it an 8. You know what I mean? Like what would bump this to an 8 for you, in my opinion? Because I absolutely am obsessed with the art style. I think
color art on the inside would really bump it to an 8 for me. Like, yeah, it's got color, but on the outside covers, you know? Okay. I mean, I'm not like super opposed to an 8, you know?
I mean, I'm just trying to think so I think we gave Black Sword Hack an 8, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, if I caught up on the IG, I'd be able to pull that up, but I can't. I'm pretty positive we did. So yeah, I think 7 is good for this. I think 7's good for this. If we compare it to some of the other stuff that we've looked at, I think 7. Yeah. Well, considering it's the last one we did, I can see the last scores. I think 7's perfect for this. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I think that you said, like, I think the quantity is perfect for what this game needs. I think, the only thing that might bump it up would be some color to an 8, and then anything after that, you would get into art book territory. You'd be getting into like Warpland and Merkborg and stuff like that. So, layout wise, thoughts?
Oh, it's an incredibly well laid out book. It's so easy to read and look at, and super easy to navigate. It's got inline hyperlinks. It's got a hyperlinked table of contents. It has bookmarks. It's also like one of the games that's in an order that really makes sense. Everything is where it should be. We haven't had one recently that I've been like, that's out of place, but like it's perfectly in the order. Actually, Black Sword Hack does have stuff that's out of place, and I played it last week and I realized it. But everything's where I want it to be. It's in the order I want it to be in. I think this is a very high layout book. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the same. I think it has everything that it should have for layout. You know, I mean, anything. So we've talked about this before. Nothing will be the first edition of the Numinous edition of Troika. And then after that, and that's a 10. That's above and beyond. Nothing will ever come close to that. 9. We're looking at things like color-coded sections and a bunch of crazy above and beyond stuff. I think anything less than that. I mean, this is. I want to find a book that has that's a 5. What did we read that was a 5? Was a Lancer probably had like a 5-ish, something like that? Probably. If there's like no hyperlink, like just bang average, like no hyperlinks, like no art, like 2 white, like size 10 font, massive columns that just go and go and go. Now no navigation tools. I think the only thing that could bump this up would be like a bookmark, but it's 38 pages. You don't need it. Like,
yeah, you don't really need one.
I'm at like an 8 for this. I mean,
I'm easily an 8 for this. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And just real quick to go back to the art. One of the things I also really love about stuff is, so this is a cover art for the first book, right? Cover art. And then there's a completely different second book cover art, which is like from outside to in a tree. And then there's also the cover art for the box set, which is again completely different, but is also highlighting the hole in the tree that you get to on the cover of the book.
Very clever.
And then a whole different cover art for the estate box set. I just love all of it together when you look at it, like how well it all works together.
It's like a little story.
Anyway, just throwing that out there. Not to change anything. It just again, we said at the top that this is one of the most complete games because there's nothing really that going through this yet again that I'm like, I wish it had that. Like, so rule set. So at its core, it's Into the Odd, but it is so much more.
But it's a very, very good Into the Odd adaptation. You know?
Well,
and not like a lazy one.
I don't even want to say it's an Into the Odd hack because like I genuinely feel like the amount of Into the Odd in it is maybe like 50%. You know what I mean?
I would say like 40% Into the Odd, 50%, but you know, the inventory slot stuff, like even the magic stuff, magic recharge, a lot of it's a fun game, you know?
Yeah. You know, well, like you just said, and it says in the beginning specifically where it pulled these various different pieces from, where Isaac pulled it from, and such a great. I mean, that's at this point in the RPG world, it's hard to make something that's completely brand new. So totally. The best thing you can do is to combine the best parts of other things into a new thing in a good way, and this does that so well. When I got to the magic, I was like, fucking genius. I love this, you know. When we got to inventory, I think we said it, fucking genius. I really love it. I mean, as far as the rule set goes, overall, super light, super streamlined, super family and kid friendly. I definitely think you could get like an 8-year-old to read this and super easily understand it. Totally. But at the same time, I could get like an 80-year-old that would love to be a fucking mouse. You know what I mean? I want to be a fucking mouse, you know?
We all do.
So yeah, between the magic system, which is really fantastic, between the inventory system, which is really fantastic, and between Into the Odd, which I feel like, I think we said this before, is the perfect combat system for this style of game, specifically because mice live in a much more dangerous world. I love it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a pretty high ranked one for me. I mean, this is another easy 8. You know, easily an 8.
My question is, how easy of an 8 is it for you?
It's all. I mean, I'm at like an 8.7. So
I'm okay giving this a 9.
Let's give it a 9. I'm good with that. I like this a lot. It works really, really well, and it's a great game.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't given out a 9 in rules in a long time. Like,
yeah,
I don't think we this is one of the ones we've never given a 10 in, and I can't imagine one that we ever will.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, you know.
Yeah, because I think that although we overlap like 85-90%, I think the small things that tweak me and the small things that tweak you would never allow us to both go perfect. You know,
perfect.
But for me, as far as rules light games go, I mean, and you know,
this is a great one.
And you know, I love a good inventory system. Don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I think this is a perfect one. I think it's great. And I think that the use of all of these stuff as a core part of the game is such a not necessarily completely unique, but very unique aspect that I think is just adds to it too. Really fantastic. Okay, originality.
It's a game about being a mouse. You don't really see that very much, you know.
I mean, there are other mouse games exist. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but listen.
But
this is the one. This is
But yeah.
I don't know. You take the lead on this one. What are you thinking?
So I mean, it is a mouse game. There aren't many. I mean, I can name like 3 more, right? Like Mouse Guard, Scurry. You can do things like Apothecaria. I mean, fucking Root. You know. Yeah. So mouse like rodent games exist. That's fine. I love it though. I think that the the world is fun and interesting. I think that the game is fun and interesting. But I also think that less so than being original, I really genuinely think that this is one of the better, like if someone was like, what's the OSR? Like I'd be like, oh, let me grab Mausritter for you. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's such a good example of all of the best practices you want from whatever the OSR, NSR, whatever the fuck people want to call it now.
Sure.
I feel like this is such a good example of that. So in less so in originality, but to me more so in just being like the perfect example of exactly what it wanted to be. So the other thing too is every one of these rules, every one of these bits and pieces, for the most part, inventory system a little tweaked, magic a little tweaked, nothing is like blown me away as far as like I've never seen it before, except again I do love the token inventory system. I think that is an incredibly original. Yeah, I think as a whole game, if you actually have the box set and having the character sheets and not only that, when you write an adventure, having each adventure have its own item thing that you can punch out and also use too.
Yeah,
I think that's where it really shines as far as originality is in the makeup of like the box sets and stuff like that. So I don't think it blows me away as far as originality, but I also think it's well above average. So what are your thoughts?
I'm feeling like, I don't know, I feel like this is another 8, you know?
On originality, what makes it an 8 for you as opposed to like a 7? You know what I mean? Like
I think
what
the
aspect
item
of it?
punch cards for every single adventure really is what pushes it past 7 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, what pushes it from a 5 to an 8 as far as like any other aspect of the game besides the punch cards, right?
I think the magic system's fun in the original. I think the recharging of spells is fun in the original. I think the way that it really reinforces the mousiness of the game is fun in the original.
I mean, I personally think that's like a requirement for a game.
What number are you
I was at like a 7 at most for originality.
I'm incredibly dehydrated, so you might be smarter than I am right now. So I'm willing to go with you.
Yeah, I just think that like there are some pieces that I really like, but again, there's nothing in this game where we're like, man, that's incredibly unique. And the other thing too is even like the magic system, it specifically says in the beginning that they took it from something else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
I think that's the part that hops into my head is that like this is more of a conglomeration, an amalgam of good things than something completely unique, which is not a knock. It's really well done. And then value wise, you don't happen to already be switching over to Game Omnivorous website, are you?
I'm not. I'm actually at Mausritter.com. So.
Oh, dope. And that'll link you to Exalted Funeral and everything.
It will.
Well.
So, right now on Mausritter.com, it takes you to the itch, which is pay anything you want for the game.
Well, the box set on EF is out. It's sold out. It's $55 for the box set.
Wow, it's only $55 for the box set. That's pretty crazy, actually. Holy shit!
I'm pretty positive that the estate one was the same. If I remember correctly, it was $50 or $55.
Crazy. But I mean, right now, if you want to get Mausritter in digital, like it's free, essentially.
Literally fucking free. Like that's.
And if you go to Mausritter.com, you go to resources. There's an adventure site generator. There's you create a roll again, and it generates a little adventure for you, and that could be hours of fun. I mean, there's a ton of third-party content for adventures. I mean, I was kind of like referencing Matt's stuff earlier, Manadon, who like has a ton of Mausritter stuff written.
Barnpile, Lilliputian, if you want ocean adventures. Yeah, there's like pretty much everyone we follow or like at all has written Mausritter shit because it's fucking good.
I mean, there's a insane amount of stuff for it.
Well, real quick, so Manifestus Omnivorous is what I was talking about before. Those are the adventures that Games Omnivorous puts out that only has like 2 colors, that has like the 10 rules that it must follow on it. Love those. But as far as the book, so interesting, so that people know, on Games Omnivorous, it says that there is going to be a reprint soon. Oh, and actually the Estate Collection box set is available from Games Omnivorous for £50. There's literally only one left. I almost wanted to just buy it just so I have it in case someone asks for it later. So a reprint soon for Mausritter. So the rule book by itself is £20. The box set is £50, and the estate box set is £50. So we'll call that like 25, 55, and 55 because it's 55 on Exalted.
Yeah, but if you don't want to get the box set, it's free. Like, this is a free game.
Well, the book by itself is only $25. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. But and then you can get the whole stack of GM sheets for $4. But exactly what you're just saying, it's the entire fucking game, right? Like, yeah, it's the entire game. And not only that, what you were also saying was what is all available? Because I know there was the mouse generator in the book.
They do have a mouse generator. They also have an adventure generator for just generating adventures. And then just all the third-party content created by other people that we do and do not know. You know, like, there's a lot of really great content for the game. Oh
my god, bro! The item card studio, you can literally click on it, write any item you want, put any number of usage dots you want, and even change the size of it, and then print a whole sheet of any items you want. So you can specifically create items for your adventures.
That's pretty cool.
Using the item card generator, the printable sheets, character and hireling sheets, item and condition cards, game master tracking sheets, hex crawl templates, rules reference sheet, all fucking free. As you said, the game is free. There's a shitload of content. I mean, there's no question what we're going to give this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 9,
What
right?
are you thinking?
I'm thinking a 9. You thinking higher?
Bro, wait, the game is free.
Yeah, I think, okay, 10. I'm good with that. It's free. It's a 10. Give it a 10. Give it the highest score. I mean, yeah, you can pay nothing and you can play several adventures in this game. There's adventures in the book. There's an adventure generator. Like,
yeah, but not only that, even like, it's third-party content, fine. But when we went over the options for the estate, it's not just that there's third-party content out there. It's that there's third-party content out there by people who are fucking amazing at what they do. Dude, LFOSR, Nate Treem, Diego Noguera, Amanda Lee Frank, all have adventures in this and more and more. And then, yeah, one of the homies, Man of Dawn, who for I don't know, 2 years made their entire shit Mausritter, has about 1 million fucking amazing Mausritter books out there. Amazing fucking content for that. I mean, just the quality of the content by itself puts his value through the roof. The fact that you can get both of these box sets for like roughly $100-ish bucks is insane because the quality is ridiculous. And the fact that not only is the entire fucking game free, I've never seen as many resources, I don't think, for free for a game. The item studio thing really pushed me from a 9 to a 10. The fact that I can literally generate my own item cards. I mean, the reason that like Mausritter or that Merkborg got a 10, and the reason that like even Casket Land, even though that wasn't as a whole game one of our favorite games, got a 10, is because it's basically free. Like, it's crazy how much content's out there for this. And a lot of the people that have made other content for this have community copies where it's free too. So it would be limitless the amount of stuff you can play for this for absolutely completely free. I can't imagine giving this less than a 10 for value. So
that gives it a 41 altogether.
I have no problem. You know, I have to do it anyway. You know that I have no problem with that whatsoever. That is one of the highest rated. It's a great score. Yeah, it's anything over a 40, it puts it into the top, like, you know, 5-10 games that we've reviewed at all. And the only things that are higher than this right now are mostly World Champ stuff, or and some Stockholm Cartel stuff. Like, and I also think that feels good. So anyway, yep. That is Mausritter, everybody. You definitely want to go check that out, mausritter.com. Do we have a plan for next week, or what is the next thing that we're doing?
We need to reconvene. We had our schedule thrown off by me, so
yeah. So check back with us, see what's going on with that. Yeah, we'll be here. Weekly_squirrel on Twitter, the Adventure Archive on YouTube. We hit 850 subs, really shooting for that 1,000. So if you are listening, do us a favor and hit that sub button on YouTube. And the.weekly.squirrel on Instagram. I have started the process of updating that. I've been taking pictures of books, and hopefully on my next batch of days off, I will get that done. So follow all our socials. Thank you all so much for listening. Mausritter is a great game, and you should buy the fucking book.
Buy the fucking book.
Bye.
Bye.